Hello everybody. So Season 3 wrapped and Season 4 coming next week. The big question is, what's next? Well, I do have a few ideas. And this video's purpose is to share all those ideas with you. One thing to keep in mind though as we do this video is that this list will change as the year goes on. And of course as circumstances change. Weather, money, material availability, and the learning curve all play a huge role into what, when, where, why, and how I do things. And with all that out of the way, let's get into it. By far, the most important upcoming task this year is the Mansard roof and the limestone facade of the house. And of course, everything that goes along with that. So let's break that down. First thing that you guys are going to be seeing is the dormers. Firstly, the dormer pieces that Eric, my historic carpenter, has made need to be installed. Same goes with most of the trim and the scrolls that attach to the side of the dormers. Basically everything woodwork-wise for the dormers is complete with the exception of the small sunburst that goes above the smaller dormer, which is being worked on as we speak. I would say roughly 85% of all of the millwork actually for the entire Mansard roof is ready to be installed. And the last thing really to get to with the Mansard roof is figuring out the slate and the flashing. Now the slate, I'm going to try to get the red paint off of it. This is not red slate. Somebody had the bright idea of painting the entire front of my building, so that means I need to do exactly what I did for the stone front of the house to the slate as well. I also have to look in and kind of test and figure out if the slate is actually salvageable. Because even if I can buy a good 5-10 years with the slate that's currently on there, it'll definitely be worth it to me because slate is expensive and I have a lot of things to throw funds at the moment. One thing I cannot skimp on right now though is the flashing. The flashing that's on the Mansard roof is completely shot the whole way around. And that's another thing I'll have to crawl up onto the Mansard roof and try to figure out how to get back on there. But with all that complete, that should take away the last few leaks I have here in the house. And we'll finally have a watertight roof. Fully. Moving down from the Mansard roof itself, the limestone facade of the building is still needing some serious attention. Now a while back I did start doing the sculpting of some of the broken stone sills and the corbels that are underneath them. But there are a lot of corbels on this house and quite a few sills, and every single one of them needs attention. So far I've corrected 4 corbels and 2 sills. So that leaves 5 sills and quite a few corbels to correct. Of course it's not just the sills and corbels that need attention. There's plenty of spalling and erosion all the way up the facade of the building. Definitely makes me angry that somebody back in the day thought it was a great idea to paint a stone building with latex paint. So let this be a lesson to you all in the future. You can paint brick if you like, and you can paint stone if you like, but do never ever do it with household paints. Mineral paint, lime wash only. You will destroy your building. It's definitely cost me a lot of time and money to correct that very cheap fix back in the day. Now here back on the second floor, in the very front of the house. This is the big bay on the very front on the second floor that looks out into the world. And one of the big things that has to happen this year is getting all of these windows replaced. Now, this grouping here, the only one that's truly bad is this one. But this one here, this larger window, which is directly above the front door, is an absolute disaster. But no worries, I actually have all of those windows. They're already made. Now, of course, this isn't all of them because I have ones for other rooms as well, so that's why the sizes are a bit all over the place. Rest assured, the ones for this area are all sitting within this stack. And because none of these windows were ever painted, that means this is a really easy job of just wiping down the shellac, redoing where I have to redo, making new stops, putting the windows in, recalibrating the weights because those windows, the new windows, are heavier than the old ones. Replacing the sash locks, replacing the pulls, which are the little brass bits, as you can see there, that you put your fingers into to be able to lift the window up. And Bob's your uncle, we got new windows. Now the reason that hasn't happened yet with these ones, as you can see, I mean, these ones full on let in air, they're really bad. They're super broken, both of these two. The reason that has not been done yet is the fact that you can see just how dirty these windows are, especially on this one. See how gross it is? That's from actually stripping all of the paint on the outside of this. So all that facade work that I've had to do getting all the paint off has to be complete before I want to put brand new windows and get them gunked up with all the crap that's coming off of the facade of the building. So once that work is wrapped up, which should be pretty soon this spring, I can put these new windows in, and then the house starts to look a lot more lived in up here. Of course, again, that will give the entire front of the building a much needed upgrade. Again, the windows that I had made were made on antique equipment from a master craftsman. So they're made the exact same way these windows were. So even though these are getting replaced, they're not going to be anything terribly different. And again, all the original hardware I will steal off of these and add to the new windows. It's gonna look good. And for those who don't remember, these are what those windows look like when installed from the inside. So these are the exact same windows, minus the spider web, of course, that will be installed up front. Well, I guess one thing also that's different is the front ones don't have this mutton. So it's a 2-pane window versus the single pane sash that's up front. Now moving back outside, one of the other major tasks I want to tackle is the garage, which for those of you who have been following the channel for a bit will know is going to be a workshop. I desperately need a place outside of the house that I can get messy all the time. But the garage has a few problems, mainly being the roof, which leaks terribly and is rotten and needs to be completely replaced. And then it needs a major amount of tuck pointing. Okay, maybe the word major is a bit much, but it needs quite a bit of tuck pointing. Also here on the side of the garage, I plan on adding a little awning. Basically just a little roof and a small concrete pad so I can put some more wood storage on the side of the garage. Something I desperately need right now. I plan on modeling the brackets off the ones that are on the back of the house, which should be a fun project and a good way to learn how to build one of these brackets since I already have to build one more for this section. So tons of work to do out there, but also in here, you can see this is the central beam that all of the joists for the roof, or the ceiling, I guess that's the roof, this is the ceiling. All these joists kind of crisscross and meet here in the middle. So nothing's actually doing a full span of the garage. They're all sitting on top of this beam, which because of the roof being so bad right here, has broke, rotten, and dropped down, which is what this pole is doing for support. So it's not terribly stable at the moment, but I don't think it's going anywhere either. But of course, all of this has to be off and corrected because this will not support much weight for much longer. And you can also see just how bad the tuck pointing is again up here. It is absolutely terrible. Also looks like some type of animal has been living up there or something, and this whole thing has floated. And this whole area right here is definitely sloping down to this point here because of how low this has dropped. So the beams have dropped, and yeah, it's a whole mess. One positive thing about it is the ceiling is actually pretty cool in here. Unfortunate that it's going to have to come down, but who says this can't be a wall somewhere else here in the workshop? But I will say the light fixture here is actually another nifty little thing. I would say it's probably from the 20s. You can see actually at the very top up here that it is a little porcelain guy with a little, well, maybe it's a porcelain hood, I don't know. I've never gotten up there to really check it. But that would be something really nifty to rewire and put back up here, or if not in here, somewhere else in the house. And with the garage as well, there is alley access, 2 points actually, neither of which are currently open. Both are been blocked up. You can see the blocks there, they're just cement blocks. So at some point I'm gonna have to knock those out, and of course do, again, more pretty heavy tuck pointing to do here just to clean that all up and square it up. These 3 doors here we'll probably have to leave at some point here pretty soon. To be honest, it's kind of weird that they're here at all. These are not original garage doors or anything even similar to that. I don't actually know how and or why they did this. They're actually 3 upside down house doors connected in the middle. They're not from my house. I have no idea where they're from. But there are some good parts here that I might be able to use. For
For instance, these hinges are pretty nice, old hinges. There's 3 sets there. I had no idea what's on the other side of these pieces of wood. So yeah, tons of work to do with this, but the goal isn't to actually fix either of these right now. This is a later dates thing. First thing first, get this thing tuck pointed, get the roof off, get a new 12-1 pitch or a flat roof on this thing, get it dried in, and then I can start actually removing the things that don't need to be in here out and putting the things that I need, like the machines, in here and getting some real work done in here. Again, making this space usable. This is 500 square foot of usable space that is just flooded with things that are completely unnecessary to be in here, except for the machines themselves. Actually, 2 of these machines, this being one of them, is a Holland Brown table saw and a little baby crescent bandsaw there, are actually going to be basement dwellers here soon because these are too small to really need to run in here. So they can go ahead and find their way, I think, into the basement. They're also actually small enough where I think I could probably get them into the basement. One thing that is a possibility also for this year is the potential for some of this fencing to actually go up and in. And it's not the stuff on the front. This is all kind of, well, I don't have enough of any of that stuff to go in. But behind it, you see the ones with these spears on them, are these tops. Points. These are the ones that I actually have a huge amount of because these ones go all the way to the back to the wall. So I have, I think, about 300 feet of this, which is more than enough to be able to do the entire front, which is more than enough to be able to do the entire front yard. I also have a lot of the stakes and 2 larger columns that I have for a gate, which, who knows, I might have to have custom made to make work for the driveway anyways. But we'll see how far I can get along with something like that. Another thing I really need to do this year is get this space functional. Actually, this will happen way before the garage, and this will all be happening quite soon, which is getting this space cleaned up. I need to relocate all of the chandeliers to a higher floor, so these will all move to a second floor, probably in the maid's room. It's a room I use for quite a bit of storage, and these need to go into storage right now. Some of them probably need to find new homes. Along with the machinery, these are all kind of fine, but they do need to be a bit more organized. And the lumber and the extra plumbing and stuff that's hanging out here needs to find also a new home. But behind that wall, there's a little room. I need to build some shelves. It'll be a great place to store a little bit of this extra lumber that I have, which, by the way, I don't want to get rid of because it does come in handy. I'll show you in a minute what I've actually done with some of this stuff already. But one thing that's here that's in the way, that's large, that all of this stuff is sitting on currently, is my table saw. It's a Holland Brown table saw, but the one thing about it, unlike a lot of the machines, it is fairly modular. So this is one piece, that's one piece, and the base down there is one big piece. So I can actually get this to be quite small. I just have to take it apart, and it will probably just go on a wall somewhere around here. I would store it somewhere out in the garage or something like that, but I'm trying to work in the garage right now and get that going. And this is a completely restored machine, so I do not want any water damage to get anywhere near it because it is pristine condition. Essentially what that will do is this will double the size of my shop. I'll be able to bring the bandsaw, an actual table saw that I can use instead of this giant thing. I mean, it's from there to there is how big that table saw is. It's a crosscut saw, and it's actually not terribly usable down here for what I need it for. It will be usable either when I get the garage up and going, or when I get another space, or when I get the land next door and I'm able to actually build the shop I really want. And yes, I know you guys have seen this little shelf before, but this is actually part of that wood over there. These are all old oak pews, and they make really nice little shelves. And since I'm gonna be down here in a workshop, there's going to be a lot more of these shelves, although I do need to find more of these little Victorian brackets, which are extremely handy and beautiful. But yeah, currently it's a bit of a mess down here in the basement, down here in my tiny little workshop, mostly because, again, when I was doing the shower, I was trying to do 4 or 5 things at once, and you know, when you have minimal space that you can get dirty or messy, everything kind of goes to the one spot you can get dirty and messy, and that was here. So a few messes I have to clean up here. I need a big spring cleaning montage down here, and truly try to get a bunch of these machines down here functional and just get things really worked out. Again, this is an entirely usable space, and yes, at some point somebody had pointed out to me, when you're going to build the bar in the basement, this workshop is actually where that's intended to go, but we're years away from that. Right now I need to focus on getting things set up so I can do some of the restoration work.
So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I think 2024 is really going to be an amazing year. I think the most notable changes to the structure of the house are really going to happen this year. I'm rounding the corner on so many different projects. Seems like every week I'm picking up a new skill and really truly learning how to make this old girl sing again. So I hope you guys will continue to join me on this adventure of bringing this old girl back, because I know there's going to be some beautiful things completed this year. And I can't wait to bring you all along for the journey. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.